Welcome back, riders. Today is number 14 of 25 days of coasters. Including today, two of the next three coasters are some of the most absolute fun coasters I have been on. They aren't the tallest, they're not the biggest, they're not the fastest, but just something about them is straight up fun, and they have me smiling and laughing nearly the entire time. Today's coaster might come as a surprise to some of you, but I have Copperhead Strike at Carowinds. Copperhead Strike is at Carowinds, which is an amusement park that literally sits on both North Carolina and South Carolina near Charlotte. Copperhead Strike is a launched roller coaster built by German manufacturer Mach Rides in 2019. The coaster only stands 82 feet tall. That's it. Despite that, it has 3,225 feet of track. It has 5 inversions and the top speed is 50 miles an hour. I was able to get 8 rides on Copperhead Strike across 2 days in August 2021. Copperhead has a little theming. The queue is themed to like Granny's Farm, although not extremely thorough. And then before the first launch, there's like a pre-show where you weirdly find like a moonshine operation and then you get told off by grandma as you launch away. It's quirky and it's not very thorough, but it's definitely better than having nothing. On to the ride experience. Right out the station, you hit the JoJo roll. That is what's pictured. This is amazing. Awesome sustained hang time. The funny part about the JoJo roll is that I often forget about it. Since it happens before the meat of the ride, I often overlook it when thinking about this ride. But then before each ride, or maybe each time like I look it up later, I see it and like I get excited. I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I totally forgot about that. But it's still just hang time galore, which if you haven't been able to tell, if I haven't outright said it, I love hang time. After the JoJo roll, you go into the aforementioned pre-show for the launch. Eventually the launch hits and you really have to keep your expectations in check for this one. This launch has no bite. Zero. None. Zip. But if you can get past that, like I can, you're rewarded with one of the better inversions around directly afterwards, which is the first vertical loop. This is a small one, but it is taken so incredibly slow. Just like the JoJo roll, you get oodles of hang time. And the more circular vertical loop that Copperhead Strike has, instead of like the clothoid shape, I think that's what it's called, produces some slightly different forces that keep you on your toes. After the loop, you hit a sustained ejector airtime hill, which is absolutely fantastic. After that, you whip through a corkscrew at a pretty high speed. It's a great corkscrew, one of the better ones out there. After the corkscrew, you have 2 turns with some laterals thrown in there. Then you have another airtime hill. This one's a little weaker than the first one, but it enters into the second launch. This launch has a little airtime hill in it that honestly doesn't give that much airtime, but it's still fun to go up and down while simultaneously launching at the same time. This launch also has a little more punch than the first launch in the ride. The launch rises into a step up, which gives some more airtime, not the strongest, but you get a little, before you rise into some kind of inverted stall. This produces, you guessed it, some wicked hang time. And I'm just smiling, laughing the whole time, like especially the hang time, but all the other moments too. This ride is so much fun. After the stall, you hit a very low to the ground overbanked turn. It is snappy and forceful. You then enter the ride's second vertical loop. This one doesn't produce the amount of hang time that the first one does. You take it with a little more speed, but it still gives you some hang time, just not as good as the first loop. Then you hit the Stangle Dive. This is a fantastic element. awesome laterals with some airtime mixed in there as well, taking at a good speed. I love this part of the ride. It catches me off guard every time, just jolting. My body just goes automatically to the left. It's a lot of fun. After this, you hit some kind of S-bend, again giving you both laterals and airtime. It's a good whippy moment, turning, I think it's right to left. For the vast majority of the rest of the ride, Copperhead Strike just has a bunch of turns. It's not super thrilling, but it's one of those things that I've kind of mentioned in the past that I like, where you're just kind of meandering around. Sure, I agree it is the least exciting part of the ride, but I still find fun in it. Right before the final break, though, there is one more trick up its sleeve. It's got a off-axis airtime hill, and it gives a pretty good pop of ejector. It ends on a high note, that's for sure. So that is the ride experience on Copperhead Strike. This is just an insanely fun coaster where I'm laughing, smiling the whole time. I think it's mostly because of the hang time though, and in my book, Copperhead Strike is the hang time king. And honestly, I don't really have a short list of coasters where I'm like, yeah, this coaster has a lot of good moments of hang time. Sure, I think about like great moments of hang times on coasters, like just off the top of my head, the vertical loop on Full Throttle. Awesome, awesome, awesome moment of hang time. But besides Copperhead Strike, I can't really think of other rides where I'm like, yeah, this ride, this coaster has various moments of hang time that are really, really good. It's really only Copperhead Strike, so I think it's the king. And like I said, I love hang time, so I'm not too surprised to see it ranked up this high. But maybe you guys are a little more surprised. You don't value hang time as much as me, but that's just kind of fun about ranking rides. But with that, that's all I've got for today's video. Have you been on Copperhead Strike? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the description, I linked a more in-depth review and better footage by Kennedy Coaster if you're interested in that. Again, sorry for the lack of photos. I guess I was just having fun lapping this thing when I was there. I'm surprised I didn't take more, but oh well. Guess it gives me another reason to go back. Oh darn. I hope to see you all tomorrow. Push down, pull up, exit to the right. Hope you enjoyed the video, and go have your greatest day yet. Choo choo bye.